It's the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Say hi to Matthew Rocchio.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic,
Good.
man.
Our whole building here is up in arms because the Steelers and Dolphins are just doing crazy things in the NFL. You know, the NFL is supposed to shut down in June, right?
We had so many AFC fans here.
Yeah, we do. So the Steelers get Jalen Ramsey from Miami in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then the Steelers also get Jonnu Smith, one of Matthew's favorite tight ends in the NFL, from Miami as well. So Minkah Fitzpatrick goes back to Miami in exchange for Jalen Ramsey. We were all thinking, okay, the Steelers get Jalen Ramsey, and their secondary is stacked now with Joey Porter Jr., and they had Darius Slay already, and we're thinking you add Ramsey to Fitzpatrick, and you think, okay, nobody's going to throw on them. TJ Watt rushing the passer once he gets signed. But I guess that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, that apparently is not going to be the case. It's a weird move to me. I'm guessing what it looks like to me, based on just a quick cursory look as to why you make this player for player trade, conceivably to a guy who's about to enter his prime in Minkah Fitzpatrick for a guy who's about to exit his prime in Jalen Ramsey. Yes, you're getting an extra player in Jonnu Smith, but to me, it looks like the Steelers front-loaded Minkah Fitzpatrick's deal that he signed a couple of years ago. He signed a 4-year, $73 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they front-loaded the living daylights out of it. And last year, after playing on a base salary of $1 million with a $7.9 million cap hit, last year he played on a $14.5 million base and a $21 million cap hit. The next 2 years, 15.5 base, 15.5 and 17.5 base, same cap hit as well. So I think there might be something here to Minkah Fitzpatrick's extension, but at the same point, he's entering his prime, so that's not a bad deal.
The thing is, there are teams out there, the family-owned teams, Rooney's, Bidwell's, that I know the money is outrageous in the National Football League, but there are some teams that just have more cash than the family-owned teams, and the Steelers are one of the family-owned teams.
That's a good point.
And they just don't have the financial oomph that other teams like the Dolphins have. Stephen Ross has a ton of money, and the Rooneys don't. So anyway, there's your NFL trade. We might get back to that a little bit later. But we'll start with this. The Cardinals open a 3-game series tonight in Pittsburgh. And if the playoffs started tonight, well, it wouldn't be a playoff game between the Cardinals and the Pirates. But the Cardinals would be a wild card team.
Yes, they would. How about the run in Cleveland over the falling, tumbling Guardians, but also they got some help out as the Astros took some games from the Cubs, and now it's 2.5 in the Central. And don't clap about the Astros, clap about the Cubs losing, Wilson. That's how I'm going to take those claps. And we got a Houston Astros fan in the background clapping, but it's because the Cubs lost, not because the Astros won. That's how I'm taking it. So ground in the wild card, ground in the Central, a sweep overall. Doesn't matter that you don't have any right-handed hitters. Nolan Gorman's hitting the ball. Everything's hunky-dory in Cardinals land.
Sonny Gray was unbelievable
that
on
too.
Friday night. One of the 3 or 4 best starts in Cardinal history. Now, I want to start with this.
When
we start to rate this as the best start in Cardinals history, I don't count Bob Gibson in the World Series or Chris Carpenter in the playoffs against Philly because the gravity is different. Those are stand above. For me, postseason games stand above regular season games. So I won't count those two. But in terms of regular season starts, for me, Matthew, and I was at the game in '89 where De Leon went 11 innings, faced 33 hitters. He allowed 1 hit through 109 pitches. The guy that got on base was eliminated on double play. So Jose De Leon faced the minimum for 11 innings, but didn't win the game. The Cardinals wound up losing in 13. But you remember in 2013 the Shelby Miller game?
Absolutely, I do.
That to me is the one.
I was at the Shelby Miller game.
Really?
Actually, I thought I was going to see. I thought I was going to see history. I was also I did. You're right. I was also at the Michael Wacha game in 2013 where he. The reason why I remember the Michael Wacha game so well is because I'll never forget is we're there, we're watching the game. I'm thinking, oh my God, I might actually see a no hitter, which I've never seen in person, and I remember at one point I turned to my left and all of a sudden I see Derek Gould, who had not been there the first few innings.
Oh yeah.
And I turn again and I see Derek Gould and he's just in shorts and a t-shirt. And I'm like, Derek, and I was really young in my career. That was the year I graduated from college. I'm like, Derek, I didn't see you earlier and you're dressed very differently from usual. He goes, today's my off day. He goes, but if pitcher takes a no-hitter into the 7th, he goes, I got to drive down to the park just in case it happens because it hasn't happened in 15 years at that point, or 14 years, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
It's 99, right?
2002.
2002
or 2001 for
2001 for
Yeah,
Bud
got
Smith. My,
traded in
my
02.
apologies. So it had been 12 years at that point. So and that brings me to my first question for you. Why, or I guess your rationale in putting the one hitter over all of the other regular season no hitters in Cardinals history?
Because Miller was just so dominant, and the only hit, Eric Young Jr., a broken bat hit to start the game. When Shelby Miller was a rookie, his stuff was unbelievable. You talk about a popping fastball, just jumped. And kind of like the other night with Sonny Gray, they were helpless. The Rockies were helpless. And that Rocky offense was a much better offense than what Cleveland tossed out there the other night. And I don't want to take anything away from Gray because it's a major league team. But if I'm going to compare these two, number one, Miller had a higher game score. He struck out 13 and had a higher game score. And the other part of it was the opponent was a little bit better than.
We're getting some chats here, and I've thrown up the question: is Sonny Gray's one hitter the greatest regular season start in Cardinals history? Samuel Howe points out that Miles Michaelis was one strike away from a no-no one time.
He was.
You also have.
And by the way, you talked about that Waka game. Ryan Zimmerman gets a hit off of Waka, and in his rookie year, Waka had the chance to get a no-hitter against Washington.
Man, it does seem like rookies. I feel like there is something definitely to like having a book on a pitcher, because it seems like a lot of rookies will randomly throw no hitters early on in their rookie season because you don't have a book on the guy, and if he's got good stuff that moves, it's just MLB hitter, MLB pitcher. It's hard to catch up to that stuff if you don't know where it's supposed to be.
Go back, Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game, rookie year.
Yeah,
I think Pryor took a no hitter into the ninth in his rookie year. I don't know if Skeens they don't allow pitchers to go that deep into games anymore.
No. I mean, literally, Fernando is a great example of just his dominance that entire season. Obviously, he's a great pitcher, but I mean, the fact that he hits the ground running so much.
So there have been, I think Mike Warren for the A's might have been a rookie when he threw his no-hitter. And so many no-hitters are from guys that you never expected from. But I'll say this for Sonny Gray. If he can do what he did the other night, and not on a regular basis, but if he can have what he's done in the last month and do it in August and September, that'll be something he's never done before. But I think that'll put the Cardinals in the playoffs. I think that would be enough for the Cardinals to be a playoff team. He was that dominant the other night. And he doesn't need to throw a one hitter every time out. I'm just saying, pitch that way. If you pitch that way against the Cubs, if you pitch that way against the Giants, you're going to have success.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think the key is that the 90 pitch, or the sub 90 pitch factor, I think is why it goes so high, because it was dominance. And we just talked about last week, we had a multiple conversations about how they're managing the pitchers and how this is their ability to lengthen them across the full season, and how important that is with a guy like Sonny Gray. Austin Shiflett, by the way, throws out Carp's one hitter against Toronto, stands out.
Yeah, that was sensational. Carp had a loss. Remember, it was a Memorial Day game in Milwaukee where Carpenter was just absolutely dominant. One other thing about Sonny, we always hear this in baseball. There's always a chance you'll see something that you've never seen before. And Sonny Gray was the first to throw 9 innings, 1 or no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 11 strikeouts, and do it in under 90 pitches. Nobody in the history of the sport had ever done what Sonny Gray did on Friday night.
And great point here. I thought that was the case. Bud Smith was a rookie.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Bud Smith. So good point by Samuel Howe pointing out that
Bud Smith. I think Jose Jimenez might have been a rookie when he threw his for the Cardinals too.
I think that's another one. Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's something to not having the book there, but yeah, it was unbelievable. For me, it was regular season. It's Michael Waka. Cause I don't remember. I remember the stats around the Shelby Miller one, but I don't remember the feeling I had watching it. I think it's because I didn't lock in my brain because it was, it got ruined early, and then he locks in for it. But the Waka one, I'm like, oh my God, I might actually see a no hitter. So yeah, I think it's right behind or right next to Michael Waka is the most dominant one I remember watching every pitcher.
By the way, do you remember the morning after the Cardinals signed Kyle Gibson, the highlight we ran on 101?
Yes. That's one of the worst things Randy's ever had me do, was run a bunch of Bob Gibson highlights after they signed Kyle Gibson, and then we proceeded to call him Gibby that whole year piss off. Yeah. There was a small group of people in St. Louis that we pissed off on a daily basis by referring to Kyle Gibson as Gibby. Oh, it made him so mad. It was so damn funny. I loved that. So I don't know. I loved that so. I had so much fun doing that.
Yeah.
God, every time we called him Gibby, immediately, there's only one Gibby.
Yeah. So a couple of other things about the weekend. Cleveland only scored a run in one inning, the fourth inning against Miles Michaelis. The other 26 innings, they didn't score. So the Cardinal pitching was stupendous over the weekend. And we were talking before we came on the air about Nolan Gorman. And Nolan Gorman has taken his shots, how the Cardinals broke him and he was never going to be good. And here he is doing Nolan Gorman things. He has 6 home runs this month, and you give the guy an opportunity to play, and he's healthy, and he seems to find a way to hit the ball over the fence. Now, he is probably, we dreamed of him becoming Kyle Schwarber. He's probably not going to become Kyle Schwarber, but he can be a really serviceable part for a really good team. He is, for me, Matthew, kind of like the ultimate number 6 hitter. Right? He's not going to hit for a high average. He might hit for a reasonable OPS. He might get you an 800, 805 OPS and hit 35 home runs, but you need those sorts of hitters these days in MLB.
Yeah, and this roster needs to be rounded out by multiple of those hitters. And that's the thing is we keep talking about that. You're not going to have that one big guy, so you have to have consistent hitting throughout. 6 home run month for him. Samuel Howe points out 6 home runs this month. Seems like a lot for a part-time player.
It sure does.
Also, I was just looking because that jumped out to me. In his 27 home run season, it pretty much was 3 6 home run months, a 7 home run month, and then 2 other home runs elsewhere in like April or September afterwards. So, I mean, this is what he's able to do when he gets a full month to go to work. And you see it right there to the left of the screen, 267 batting average, 353 on base, crucial, 547 slug, and then 900 OPS for Nolan Gorman in the month of June.
Pretty darn good. King Bash, speaking of the rotation, do you think Libby has solidified his future as a number 2 or 3 starter moving forward after this year? He has been fantastic this year, and his record doesn't reflect that. Yesterday was his 16th start. His earned run average, I think, is 3.7 at the moment. I think he's a number 2 or 3 guy, and I don't know if he has the stuff to be a number 1, but I think that he can give you the innings. I think he can give you the quality to be a really good number 2 or number 3. And I think we can also, and I want you guys to weigh in here, I think we can also try to answer another question. At 25 years old, with what Liberatore is doing, the Cardinals going to win that trade. Rosarena is 30.
Yep. It's a good point.
He's on pace for 16 home runs, and obviously you're not going to hit as many home runs in Seattle as you hit in Tampa. And by the way, his numbers aren't awful. He's been reasonably consistent through the course of his career. But Liberatore might have 10 years left, and Rosarena might have 5 left. And I would not be surprised now if 10 years down the road, people look back. I don't know if I'll be one of the ones looking back, but you guys might look back and say, hey, the Cardinals won that Liberatore trade a long time ago.
Well, if we just this is the first year that Liberatore's really been given a chance. He had 11 starts for the Cardinals back in 2023. He had just 6 last year. We did pitch in 60 games, and then 16. And in this year, his ERA plus is 111, so he's 11% better than an average pitcher. Mm-hmm. This year, Randy Rosarena is still 22% better than the average hitter.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a flat out, even with the Rosarena coming down to earth a little bit, not going to be too easy, but it definitely seems like a better trade with this year with Liberatore. And
I think so. Eric Cleveland, Libby having success in the playoffs might sway that answer, Randy. And yes, that for me makes a huge difference. That's like I was looking this up last night, and I don't know why. Oh, because somebody asked the question, what player whose career was affected by injuries do you think, if they would not have been hurt, do you think might have wound up in the Hall of Fame? And the first guy that comes to mind for me is Chris Carpenter, who had a 605 career winning percentage, missed over 100 starts in his career. And if he'd had those starts to the 605 winning percentage, he would have won like 214 games, was dominant in the postseason. One of the great postseason pitchers ever. Waino, if he would not have been hurt, might have gotten to 240 wins.
Yep.
Because of essentially three full years that he missed. But because of what Carpenter was in the postseason and what he was at his best, as opposed to what Wainwright was in the postseason, I'd be inclined to take Carpenter's career. It's a great point. Like Andy Pettitte versus Clayton Kershaw. Who you taking?
Clayton Kershaw.
All right, because Pettitte was awesome in the postseason.
He was
one of the great postseason pitchers ever.
He was.
And you can make an
He's
argument.
in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
No,
Pettitte?
he won't get in because of the HGH.
Oh, because the HGH stuff. You're right. Sorry.
But you can make an argument that in the regular season, Clayton Kershaw is one of the 5 best pitchers of all time.
Yes.
He's been that good, that dominant. I mean, of all time. But mediocre in the postseason. Andy Pettitte was dominant in the postseason. I think for a good team, I think I might go with Pettitte.
Okay. I see the point you're trying to make there. I see what you're saying. And I won't argue with it. And that's hard for me to do. Let's turn to.
Hold on. Let me go ahead. Let's turn to.
Wasn't a Rosarena throw-in as part of that trade? The main piece thought at the time was Martinez going to be DH only in Tampa Bay. No, yeah. Tampa Bay knew what they were. Tampa Bay knew what they wanted in Randy Rosarena.
They did, but
yes,
I don't know if the Cardinals did. And certainly our fans, because we were doing the afternoon show at 101 at the time, and everybody was furious about the Cardinals trading Jose Martinez. And it's pretty obvious the Cardinals didn't know what they had. And they thought, oh, well, we've got this good hitter who we don't have the DH, so we can move him to the American League. He can go DH over there and might hit. I think the Cardinals might have thought that Rosarena was a throw-in. But Tampa, to your point, they knew exactly what they were getting. It'll be well, Pine Bloom knew what they were getting. It'll be interesting to get into it with him. But Eibach, their director of pro personnel, Kevin Eibach, with the Rays, he knew exactly what they were getting. They liked him from the time he moved from Cuba to Mexico, and he had a camp, and the Cardinals got him. But Tampa Bay always kept an eye on him, and they knew what they were getting. And by the way, if you want to go back to the starting point of the Cardinals rebuilding their farm system, it's probably that. Not knowing what they had in Randy Rosarena.
Also, you do have to factor in, like, do you think Randy Rosarena is thrown into that trade if he doesn't go live?
Yeah, probably.
You think so?
Yeah, because I don't think the Cardinals really knew, and they thought they had a bunch of outfielders.
That's true.
I think they thought, yeah, we can move on from this guy. I'm sure that they didn't love that, but no biggie. By the way, Andy Pettitte's career, and this is pitching with his home games at Yankee Stadium. In his Yankee, hold on, I don't have his Yankee. I just have his overall postseason career. 19-11 with a 3.81. He was only with Houston for one playoff and went 1-1. So he was a dominant performer for the Yankees in the postseason.
His Yankees career in the playoffs was 40 starts, 18-10, 251 innings, and an ERA of 3.76.
Pretty good.
I mean, considering that spans 95 through 2003, and then again 2007 through 2012. Just think about the hitters and the kind of power he's going up against from 95 to 2003. He's going up against a fair amount of enhanced hitters is how I'll put it. Mm-hmm. Good group of enhanced hitters there.
Yeah.
And the guy has a handful of rings. Yeah. Without
by the way, he might have been helped by a few of those too.
And without HGH or anything like that, Pettitte's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I'm not crazy about the level he played at. Am I? That's the Rosarena stuff fascinating for me. But you were talking about Matthew Liberatore, and I want to bring this in because you were talking about the level of pitcher he can be. And I just want to throw out that too often I think we pigeonhole guys and say, well, he can't do this, therefore he can't be a star, or he can't be this kind of player. And I think instead of looking at a one profile can be a star, what you need to look at is a player elite at the things he tries to do a lot. Matthew Liberatore isn't going to try to blow guys away, but he's going to strike them out consistently because of a few things, which is when it comes to the overall value of his off-speed pitches, 97th percentile in Major League Baseball. His fastball, not great. His breaking ball, about league average. Off-speed, though, 97th percentile. He doesn't get you to whiff or strike out a lot. Those are low, 28, 35, 5th percentile. But 89th percentile in chase percentage, which is how he always has relative to his pitch count and what he does. He has such high strikeout numbers because with his off-speed stuff, he's going to get you to chase, and you're not going to see what's coming, and he's going to paint the corners because, oh yeah, 94th percentile in walk percentage. So this is a guy who he might not be elite in what you think is prototypical elite pitcher stuff, but the things he does as at an elite level, and that means you're getting consistently above average, borderline all-star level stuff.
And I think you have to give credit to the Cardinal staff, to Ali Marmol, to Dean Kiekeffer, to Blake Lively, all of those people, because the best coaches
Can't just sneak it in there.
What?
Give the man his credit
Okay.
with his full name.
Dusty Blake.
There you go.
But the best coaches, they enhance the abilities of the people that they have. They don't try to get pitchers, players to do something that they're not capable of doing, like the Cardinals were trying to do when they sent Jordan Walker to the minors to say, oh, you need to have different pitch selection and have a launch angle. No, you do what you do that got you to the majors. And right now, the Cardinals are playing to the strengths that you just mentioned of Matthew Liberatore, rather than trying to be have him be something that he's not really capable of being. And by the way, to our point, the genesis of this discussion, Sonny Gray pitches within his capabilities, right? He doesn't do very much wrong out there when he is at 100%.
Also, is there a little bit of zag to everybody else's zig in that? Yeah, we all love velocity, but if it's not good velocity, aren't you kind of playing into what hitters are trying to do in Major League Baseball by throwing 102? Because then all I got to do is make contact, and my launch angle is going to be high enough that the math problem is going to be that my ball is going to be a home run.
Jordan Hicks, right?
Exactly.
That's
and so I feel like Liberatore's got the zag to it, which is none of you guys are prepared to find my stuff on the corner at 89 miles per hour and take it into the dangerous zones. Fine. Take an 89 mile per hour pitch to the opposite field after I showed you 94 and 96, the two pitches before that. Try it. See what happens. You're not going to do it. And so I think that's the other side of it, where they're playing into the parts of the game where people aren't developing players to work against it, and that works in your favor.
Can we get Samuel Howe's latest chat up there? We got a little Uncle Randy for you, and I love this. Will Clark would say they shouldn't have messed with his swing, Walker. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Will Clark had one of the most beautiful swings in history, right? Beautiful swing. He and Ken Griffey probably in the last 50 years had the prettiest left-handed swings. You know who had a really nice right-handed swing, by the way, that I really liked was Carmelo Martinez. He didn't do much with it. You know, he couldn't hit the ball with it, but it was a really pretty swing. But anyway, Will Clark, when he would play golf, would play right-handed so that he didn't negatively affect that left-handed swing that he had for baseball. He would play golf right-handed and the play golf right and bat left-handed.
Just a quick thing. You person watching, you were never close to being a professional athlete. Just remember that right now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, these people are built different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to play a different sport at a different level, just ambidextrously. No big deal. I know people can do that, but that's just...
Give my right arm to be ambidextrous.
Stupid. God bless. What a great Shannonism.
One of the best. Eric Cleveland. Randy, how close do you think the Cards are from being a real contender? Another top-end starter, swing and miss reliever, and a right-handed power bat? I think that right-handed power bat might be out with a hamstring right now. Ivan Herrera.
Yeah.
I would say right now that the big thing is, and you need maturity from the guys that you have. Gordon Graceffo might be that strikeout guy, but I don't know if the Cardinals have that number one in the rotation guy, and we'll never find out until he gets here. But I don't know if they have that guy in their system right now. I just don't. And maybe there's a lot of guys, right? I don't know if Matthews is that guy. He struck out over 200 last year in the minors, but I think that's the guy that they need to import into the organization. But yes, I think they're close. And these players are getting better and better. They're going through the peaks and valleys that young players deal with. We talked about Gorman. We've talked a lot about Jordan Walker. Donovan seems to have smoothed everything out. Wynn seems to have smoothed everything out. Victor Scott's still dealing with it. Lars Nootbaar is still dealing with it. But once you have these guys with the ability to adjust quickly to what is happening to them, the adjustments that are made against them, I think the athletes are on hand for the Cardinals to be a World Series contender.
Let's do a quick managing expectations part on the back end of this text, because I've seen now the conversation about the trade deadline is getting very real. So I understand conversations and wants for a top end starter and a swing and miss reliever. And I can see how that would fit into the roster right now too. I don't know, other than just some pie in the sky young hitter that isn't available and it would be unrealistic, but would be fun to talk about. I don't know if I see this team acquiring a bat.
Oh no,
I don't see, like, I get the idea of needing a right-handed power bat, but there's no way this team's acquiring a bat.
No, they are. The offensive players that the Cardinals are going to go down the road with for the next couple of years are in the organization right now. And when you talk to Ali Marmol, when I talk to Ali Marmol, I try to be a representative of everybody. I'm a fan with access, but he says, hey, in 2 years, this group is really going to be something. He's not talking about making the playoffs and being a World Series contender in 25. They're looking at 26, 27, and they have a chance to go on quite a run in 27. Once they get everybody in place, and this is why I wish that we would have seen more of McGreevy this year, and Matthews is hurt, I know. But the reason that 27 is probably the year is because when you get to 26, when you don't have Fetty, you don't have Michaelis, you don't have Matz, so, and you don't know if, Sonny Gray's only under contract through next year too. So you might be looking at 27 for all of your young pitchers to make an impact. So I think that this team's window of opportunity has not yet even been cracked open.
Bubs, Herrera is pretty injury prone. Is that something that'll stick with him throughout his career? I feel like certain guys suffer that no matter what. I feel like this is just, it's an impossible question to answer because, like I could point to Steph Curry's ankles were garbage his first 3 years in the NBA, and then he played a decade of MVP level basketball, and his ankles weren't a problem again until the last couple of years again when he got old. Like, some players are injury prone early and then it never happens. Well, some players are never injured and then something happens and they can't get through it. It's hard for me to really lock in and be like, yes, 3 injuries for Ivan Herrera in the last 2 years means that he's injury prone and that's going to be a problem for the rest of his season. There's no evidence. There's no way to roll with that. I think like it's not a degenerative issue. Like it's not Kawhi it's not Kawhi with the leg. It's not like like he's having a bad back issue, something that we know historically can be problematic across the long term. Back, feet, those kind of things, degenerative issues, elbow issues. What was that Pujols' thing, a degenerative elbow issue? Yeah,
he was going to have Tommy John surgery.
Yes.
They would let him throw from left field.
So like degenerative issues, things like that, but none of that has been reported about Ivan Herrera. So I feel like this is a little Chicken Little.
Well, and the first injury this year was a bone bruise. Not much you can do about that. And then the second injury was a hammy. And we've all dealt with hammies. I wake up in the middle of the night with bad hammies. So, but all these guys need to do, I mean, it's easy. Whitey Herzog, the late, great Whitey Herzog, had it all figured out. He said, hey, they just need to eat a hot dog, drink some beer, and then I'll throw in, have a Reese's peanut butter cup to finish it off. And then you don't worry about those. And by the way, not catching would also benefit him in the hamstring department. But he'll hit enough home runs that he doesn't need to run hard. And I think that's one of the things. I'm not worried about him being injury. I'm like you, Matthew. I'm not worried about him being injury prone at this point. I think these are things that happen to players. And part of it is being tough, by the way. And I think that he will be. I think he'll probably be back more in line with 2 weeks than 6 weeks. But in 2011, Albert Pujols suffered a fractured wrist.
Yeah.
And he was back in 17 days. He suffered it in June, like on June 16th, and he was back by the early part of July. He missed 17 days and I think 16 games with a fractured wrist. So a lot of it depends on who you are too.
Bob says Rock's bringing basketball into this. Yeah, they're all human beings. We're all working with similar bodies, the same bones, same muscles for the most part.
Not me.
And if you listen, I'll make another comparison. Let's do another stick and ball sport. What's another stick and ball sport where back injuries usually mean, oh dear God, this is the end? Hockey's another one. Also, that's another one where feet in hockey, if you get bad foot injury, you're potentially done for, and that'll happen too because you can get it shattered. I was gonna go with golf.
Oh,
the moment you heard Tiger Woods in back, that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And Ernie Els, that's another great one. So like that. So I'm bringing up basketball because basketball is notorious for feet and back injuries ruining players. I brought up Steph Curry because There you go. That's another one. I brought up Steph Curry because he has notorious ankle. My point being is that you just can't lock in on injuries like this unless we get reports that again, it's something degenerative or it's a couple of the magical injuries in the sport that cause you to flash the warning signs. And right now, that's not it for Herrera. To that point, I'm not sure why more fans aren't freaking out about the fact that Mason Wynn has a bad back. Like that's not nothing. Like that is one of those things that is problematic when you're young and literally only gets more problematic as you get older. So honestly, Wynn's back is more worrisome for me over the next 3 or 4 years than anything going on with Ivan Herrera.
Yeah, right. By the way, point of parliamentary procedure. Because it was different back in my day. Can you say Indian ball anymore, or is that out?
I think you can still say it as long as you're saying it within the context of you can say it with the context of you can get away with saying Indian ball.
Don't cancel me.
Yeah, you can get away with saying Indian ball.
Okay, good.
By the way,
let's turn to with a very important question. But when did he hurt his back?
About a week back. God bless. We haven't had enough of those lately. Can I say
hi, Bakog?
Indian ball and stickball, an absolutely genius piece of thinking by whatever like young Americans came up with that. Because it's like we're never gonna get 18 guys together to play a game of baseball.
No.
How do we figure this out? Just the best thing in the world. God, the ingenuity to come up with that is so fantastic.
Brilliant. And did you ever see the newsreel of Willie Mays playing stickball in the street with kids?
It's great. It's incredible. I love that so much. I don't know if there's and that's why I think I like Moneyball just because of the line, how can you not be romantic about baseball? Because for me, I don't know if there's a more romantic like scene for me in any movie than the fireworks scene in the Sandlot.
Oh yeah,
it's
that's great.
Perfect. Yep. You want to tug on my heartstrings? The fireworks scene in the Sandlot where they're playing baseball and the balls and they're all watching it. And of course, Benny's the only one because Benny's obsessed with baseball. Benny's the only one who's running the bases, head down, the way Benny the Jet always does. But everyone's watching the ball fly and the fireworks are all going. It is a perfect scene. God, I love the Sandlot.
I still get chills and misty-eyed when I watch the final scene, the penultimate scene, I guess it is, in The Natural. When Roy Hobbs hits spoiler alert, he hits a home run and the lights go up.
I feel like in America, you're either there's 3 households in America, and it's either The Natural, Bull Durham, or why am I blanking on? No, I'm blanking on oh my God, Kevin Costner. Field of Dreams. I feel like emotional emotional old school baseball movies. Like every family in America is one of those 3. My family was a Natural family, and to your point, my mother never failed to get emotional as the lights explode. And yeah, God bless America. I love that movie. I mean, I'll never the movie will always confuse me. As a child, the femme fatale stuff threw me off so far. I was like, I thought we were watching a baseball movie. Why is a random chick shooting this guy? I'm very confused, Mom. But then the back half of the movie just comes in perfectly. The femme fatale stuff, even now as an adult, even I think it's just because my brain is so warped from seeing it as a child. Even now as an adult, I'll watch it and be like, this feels just an oddly paced part of the movie. Can we get back to the lightning hitting the tree and making a bat out of it?
I don't know if Barbara Hershey did such an incredible acting job when she really didn't have to do much. All she had to do was fire a gun. But so Barbara Hershey was the actress who shot the Robert Redford character Roy Hobbs in The Natural. And then she was in another movie called Beaches.
Did she shoot somebody too?
She had cancer.
Oh God.
And I was rooting against her.
Because she shot Roy Hobbs.
She shot Roy Hobbs. I was rooting for cancer.
And How bad is that? And at that moment, Randy knew he wanted to be a baseball announcer.
I did. By the way, we did wiffle ball and tennis balls. I don't know how they do bottle caps and broomsticks in the Dominican Republic. No doubt about it. So we used to do wiffle ball when I was at KMOX. I used to take all the interns down and we would play wiffle ball. And those people that played wiffle ball with me still remember to this day those great wiffle ball games that we played. And if you've never done it, after our show is over, stay on YouTube and do a YouTube search for Salvador Perez Musial Awards. You want one that'll tug at your heart.
Oh,
Salvador Perez Musial Awards is pretty cool. I wanted to refer to Craig Lewis's chat. He says, I believe there's an issue with the Cardinals medical staff. We've had a number of mystery issues with players like O'Neill and Edman and Arenado, and the list goes on. Hey, everybody's had those problems with Tyler O'Neill. It's not just the Cardinals. And Tommy Edman had a wrist injury. He was durable until the wrist injury last year. And then Arenado, and I think Nolan doesn't tell him when he's hurt. But you look now, this year, they placed no pitchers except for Zach Thompson on the IL, and he was hurt coming in. They placed Walker on the IL with an appendicitis and a wrist inflammation. And then the other one was Herrera, right, with the knee bruise and his most recent one, which is the hamstring. I don't think any other Cardinals have been on the IL this year. I think that's it, right? No catchers. No, I think that's the group that has been on the IL. So I would have to say the Cardinal medical staff, and with the data they have, they've done a pretty good job this year.
Yeah, I mean, I know what he's talking about. Historically, there's been a lot of weird stories, and the joke that it became is that the Cardinals are going to put a guy on the IL for 15 days, and we'll see him in 3 months. Like that, there kind of became a joke about that for a little bit, but that looks like it might be in the rearview mirror because, to your point, everyone's healthy this year, and it's literally they're keeping him healthy at a level that no one else in Major League Baseball is able to at this point.
Yeah. Eric Cleveland points out that Newt's got a little rib thing, but nothing a medical staff can do for that. Yeah, right. Those little intercostal problems, and I think when they get bad, they call them obliques. But I think right now it's just an intercostal problem.
Austin Shiflett says that Moneyball is arguably the greatest baseball movie ever made. Austin, and I put this in the chat, you can't convince me it's any higher than fifth, because I mentioned the three that are higher than it, I think, right out of the gate. In Natural, Field of Dreams, and Bull Durham. I think Sandlot goes in there, and I think for me, I enjoy watching Major League more than watching Moneyball, and so at that point, I can't put Moneyball higher than sixth.
Let's see, another Kevin Costner for Love of the Game.
For Love of the Game is really good. That's a really good point. I mean, League of Their Own still in there. We're not even talking about that one.
And as you might guess, I have an inherent bias against Moneyball.
No, listen. He's a great actor, and I will never hear you say you bad word about Philip Seymour Hoffman. How dare you, sir? He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
What is your issue with Moneyball? I'm confused. Mark Shapiro.
Phil. Who would have thought? He was a great actor. He obviously had some issues, but
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he was a great actor.
Unreal actor.
He was great in Son of a Woman.
He was fantastic in Son of the Woman. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
God bless Pacino.
Yeah.
I can't forget. I can't handle that one. Somebody says you can't forget about Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears was great.
Great points.
Yep. I think I'm missing another one too. Are we missing another one from the 80s? There was that they had that stretch like from 1984 to 90 with Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, The Natural. There was another one there too. But yeah. Oh, 8 Men Out. 8 Men Out is a great movie. That's really my guy John Cusack in that one. So yeah, there have been some good ones.
Yeah, but they could.
Yeah, we got. I think we got Major League in there. Thank you. Let's turn to
a lot of good ones, and yet none of those good ones are the Babe Ruth movies because those things sucked.
Yeah. Hey, what did you think of A League of Their Own?
I love A League of Their Own.
There's no crying in baseball. One of the iconic lines.
It is a fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. I love that movie. It's an easy watch.
Yep.
It's like it's third in my list of like if it's on, I'm watching it at any point in time alongside Major League and Sandlot. Like
baseball movies.
And yeah, baseball movies. Like if it's on at any point and I jump in, I'm like, oh, I'm watching this. Yeah, I'll watch the rest of this at some point.
I don't disagree. I think it's a fun one to watch. And hey, if you want to get involved with baseball today, download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, and it is so much fun. It changes the way you watch a game. And for example, when you're watching the Cardinals tonight, you'll have the opportunity to take a look at some of the Cardinals hitters, and maybe they'll do some damage. You got to hope so. So here's what I'm looking at tonight, Matthew. And one of the guys is hot that we talked about already is Nolan Gorman, and he is a 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, over under of 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I think I'm going to go with him for more. hits, runs, and RBIs. I think that's a pretty safe bet. And then another one I like is, as much as the D-backs have been struggling of late, I'm going to go with Logan Webb of the Giants to strike out more than 4.5 members of the Diamondbacks.
He usually does that.
Yeah. So I've got Gorman, hits, runs, and RBIs more than 1.5, so 2. And Logan Webb to get 5 strikeouts against the D-backs. You can go from 2 to 6. You can pick out as many as you want, go higher or lower. And the more you pick, the more money you make. And all you need to do is download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use that promo code right there, STL Sports. And when you do, when you spend $5, you're going to get 50 in bonus picks, 10 extra picks to keep the action going all week long. Easy to start, fun to follow, and gives you a whole new way to watch the game. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app today and use it today. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Nancy Renee is in the chat, and she says, there's no crying in baseball, except for Ketel Marte of the Diamondbacks. That's okay.
Oh, Nancy.
Well done.
Jeez. God, I don't think we needed that. We also, another 42. Fantastic. Chadwick Boseman, RIP.
Oh, yeah.
Played the Jackie Robinson movie. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that was great. 42, yeah. He was great. Oh, how about this from Joseph Polaster? My girlfriend and I were free extras in the Natural in 83 in the stands between wood cutouts of fans. We got drinks and hot dogs for pay. Was that in Buffalo? Was that at War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo that was filmed?
I am incredibly jealous right
Me too.
now.
That's pretty cool.
That's nuts.
Yeah. A lot of great baseball movies pre-1960. Yeah, they were kind of corny, but they were fun. What were so you had
pre-1960?
Jimmy. What was the Jimmy Pearsall one? That was a good one. And then the Lou Gehrig one, Pride of the Yankees, was good. I
feel like Pride of the Yankees is one of the only ones I've ever really heard of. Pre-1960. All right, let's go.
Jason Scott came here for Cards baseball, not NFL talk. I think that was where we started. It's like 45 minutes ago.
God forbid we talk about some baseball news.
We have breaking news. We have breaking news from the NFL.
Safe at home. My parents are big musical people, so I have seen a lot of different performances of Damn Yankees, which came out in 1958. A Great American Pastime, the Bang the Drum Slowly.
Oh, yeah, that was like 1968.
Roogie's Bump, Big Leaguer, The Kid from Left Field, The Pride of St. Louis.
Oh, there you go. Was it?
It's a Dizzy Dean. It's a
yeah,
movie. It's a movie about Dizzy Dean.
I think so. Yeah, Fear Strikes Out was the Jimmy Pearsall one, by the way.
Angels in the Outfield is a what? Angels in the Outfield from 1951. That was a remake. Wait,
yeah. How about
Angels
that?
in the Outfield from the 90s/80s, whatever the hell it came out, is a remake from a 1951 comedy starring Clarence Brown as the Pittsburgh Pirates manager getting help from above.
Huh, how about that? Oh yeah, Trouble with the Curve was good. That was Clint Eastwood and Amy Adams.
I did like Trouble with the Curve. That's it very, very corny. It's lower on the list.
Yeah. So we got a lot of good ones here.
Yeah. Greg Lewis threw out there was a Disney D movie. We found it, Craig. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Rookie. I watched The Rookie so many times.
The Rookie was
kid.
good. Yeah.
It was as a kid, like pre-streaming. You guys all know this. Is it as a pre-streaming Walker?
No.
No.
What was his name? The pitcher that wound up pitching.
I know Jimmy.
Tampa.
It's not Jimmy? It's not Walker. I feel like it's Jimmy something. I feel like it's not Walker though.
Yeah.
It's something simple like that though. Jimmy, whatever. That was one of those movies like my parents had bought, and so we had the DVD/VCR, and so I would watch that movie like once a week because just to have like something in the background going. So I watched
Jimmy Morris.
I've seen The Rookie so many damn times. Fastball. Fastball. And yes, there was one time where me and my friends in college saw a speed limiter sign on the highway, and we got out of the car and we had like a bunch of balls in the trunk.
Oh, nice!
We threw it past the speed limit sign to see if it would read it.
That's very cool.
Had to do it.
How'd it work?
Not great.
Okay.
I also don't throw very hard, so not great.
Yeah. Joseph Pohl asked her, Robert De Niro was in Bang the Drum Slowly. Terrible movie. It was just sad. Kind of sad. It was kind of like the Brian song of baseball.
I was going to say, Bang the Drum Slowly sounds like it's going to be a depressing ass movie.
It was.
That sounds like. Also, can we do an update on Bang the Drum Slowly? It's called Bang the Can Loudly, and it's the story of the Astros.
The Astros, yeah, there you go. 2017 Astros. There you go.
Sorry, had to do it.
We like it a lot. So that was fun to get into that. Okay. One other quick note that we need to get to about the Cardinals as they get ready to take on Pittsburgh. And I wanted to toss this one out there. I think that we had a tendency to, because of the great pitching, not give enough credit to the offense. But the Cardinals this year, Matthew, now yesterday they scored their first 5 home runs on home runs, right? They had the games last week where they scored 12 consecutive runs on 2-run homers. But man, they can score in a lot of different ways. They are not a team that is beholden to scoring either through the home run or through base running. They can score in a lot of ways. And I think that's one of the things that gives them an edge over a lot of teams. They're athletic enough and they can run enough so that they can manufacture run if they need to, but they also have the ability, especially when Herrera is in there, to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And I think that's something that'll help them down the road too, is that Brant Brown has guys getting their bat on the ball.
Yes, that was a big thing for me. I think, yes, I know that the 9th run and final run in that crazy game on Saturday was the Wilson Contreras home run, but the game-winning home run and the extender are both sacrifice hits. It's a sacrifice fly and then a fielder's choice ground out that scores the 8th run. So the fact that to get back into the game, they needed the big hits, but they put the nail in the coffin of the game with 2 sacrifice hits to top off an inning. That's the difference between being a stereotypical middle of the road team in Major League Baseball. We hit home runs and we score some runs, fine. But after you hit those home runs, when you have 2 outs and a man on, can you manufacture that third run of that inning, that 4th run of that inning? And that's exactly what the Cardinals did, and it's why they won that game. Obviously, the Contreras home run changed it, but you don't know if it all that stuff. The bottom line is getting those kind of runs, in addition to the home runs when they happen, it means this offense can take off at any time, and that's what really changes their ability. Because if at any point, even if you have the bottom of your order coming up, you can manufacture a run. It keeps you in games. It changes how you manage your pitching staff, and that helps you win games down the road.
We are going to hit July 1st tomorrow. At the moment, as we speak, God. 22 of the 30 major league teams are within 5 games of a playoff spot, either in a playoff spot or within 5 games of a playoff spot. And as I look at the teams that aren't in a playoff spot right now, there are going to be some relief pitchers out there. I don't know if Miami would move Alcantara. I like Alcantara. He and Gallen would probably be my favorite acquisitions, although Arizona is one of the teams within 5 games of a playoff spot. The Braves have some bullpen guys. I don't know if they'll want to do that, if they'll want to move guys. Miami, they've got a guy. Washington, Pittsburgh, Colorado. And then in the American League, the only teams that are pretty much out of it are Baltimore, the Athletics, and the White Sox. I wonder if the price is going to be high at the deadline for those relief pitchers that the Cardinals will be in the market for, because of the fact that so many teams are going to be wanting to add rather than sell. You've got 22 buyers basically and 8 sellers.
Have we seen, I feel like we've seen less leverage at the deadline ever since the addition of the wild card team.
Yeah, definitely
more. And so I feel like this year, it seems like to your point, it seems like the logical thought is more teams in means more teams are looking, but I just feel like that's always the case, and yet we see less leverage at the deadline every year. So you're right. It seems like it should play out that way, but all the evidence we have is that it won't play out that way, and it'll be a kind of middling market.
Well, I think that
I feel like, isn't this the case every year?
Because of economics.
Yeah.
But I think this is a different year because there are no every big money team is in the playoff hunt.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Everybody that can afford it, and teams that couldn't care less about draft picks, and some teams, if you get traded, you don't get a draft pick. But there are teams out there that don't want to give up that leverage that they have. They don't trade a guy because they can tender him and then get a draft pick as compensation. So you have to give a better prospect than the draft pick would provide for the team. But take a look at a team like the Braves. Pierce Johnson is down there. I don't think they'll move Bummer. Montero is down there. Iglesias, I don't know if they'd move Iglesias either. Atlanta's, to me, going to be the interesting team to follow at the deadline because they have so much talent, but it doesn't appear as if they're going to be able to turn things around and win. And they might be interested in a young starting pitcher.
This is why I feel like we need to have those moments where I'm like, we need to manage people's expectations. Why would they bring Harrison Bader here? You have Victor Scott II. Why would I bring Harrison Bader here?
Yeah, I don't see
Joseph Polaster. What in God's name are you giving up as the Cardinals to get the Nationals closer who has 150 ERA plus, and if they want to trade him, will be the hottest commodity on the market? What are you doing to get him? And you're grabbing Amid Rosario so that you can have another person play third base instead of Nolan Gorman when you sit Nolan Arenado. I'm not sure why you're adding a bat, and I don't know what you're giving up to get maybe the best reliever on the deadline this year. That seems like a little pie in the sky there, Mr. Polaster. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I would I'm intrigued by a pitcher. I don't think the Cardinals need any position players at all. Yes, you'd like Herrera to get healthy, but after that, they're already having trouble finding enough at bats for what they have. So I really don't think that there's going to be a hitter out there that's within their price range in terms of what you would have to give up that would improve them.
I just want to because you just the name Finnegan, by the way, 17 saves this year for the Nationals, a sub-3 ERA, and his deal this year, the full number. This is not the prorated number if you trade for him at that point. The full deal for this year for him was $5.38 million. So it's $3 million to get a sub-3 ERA closer. Who's on a 1-year deal. I feel like everybody who's first in their division is going to be trying to pick off that player from the Nationals, and you don't want to get into that bidding war.
No, and now that we know, when you see what the Nationals were able to garner for Juan Soto, Mike Rizzo and his staff are pretty good at identifying your minor league players. So that's another thing. They're going to ask for your best guys. I wouldn't mind getting Brenton Doyle from the Rockies. Again,
why are we adding? I understand that you want. Is it all just come down to I want more versatile hitters at the center field spot than Victor Scott? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's they've got Hampson out there now. I don't know. I think that the Cardinals are pretty well taken care of with their position guys. I really don't think that they're going to go out and get a bat. Anybody that carries a bat. I think everything the Cardinals do, if they do anything at all, I think they're going to wind up getting pitching. And I'm not so sure that they're going to do that. I think the Cardinals are kind of in love with a lot of what they have. And I think that they'll either stand pat or they'll get pitching. That's my philosophy.
I think that makes sense. And I don't see any reason why to go against that, why to complicate things, why to add more things. I know the real third man keeps saying that there is no log jam, but if you add another bat, there certainly is a log jam at that point. And so I'm surprised we're getting so many people who are saying they want to add bats, because I just don't think that's a realistic expectation for the Cardinals this year.
Yeah, and I think that and by the way, do we have a YouTube problem now?
No, so we're having a Wi-Fi issue here, but we are hard lined in.
Oh, good.
For our broadcast, and it looks like the hard line is working, and we are still broadcasting live on YouTube and on Facebook good. Right now. We're actually about to cut off the Facebook stream soon here and move entirely just to YouTube for the final 30 minutes of the show. So go ahead and click onto the YouTube link, because we're still broadcasting live and on demand on STL Sports Central. And
I do want to make this point. So once you have Herrera and Walker healthy, let's just kind of play the game here. You've got Nootbaar, you've got Scott, you've got Burleson, you've got Walker, and perhaps even Donovan to play the outfield. And Hampson, okay? Then you've got Arenado, you've got Wynn, you've got, let's say, Donovan or Gorman and Contreras, who's not going anywhere, plus Pages and Pozo. they don't need to get at bats for Pozo. They want to get at bats for pretty much everybody else. And so if you already have 6 guys to play the outfield, and let's take Donovan out of the mix on the infield, but we'll just, so that we can add it up, you've got 5 guys on the infield. So you're at 10, and then 2 of your catchers, because one of them's a DH. So that's 12 of your 13 hitters already that you have that you want to get at bats for. The only guy that really doesn't need at bats is Pozo. So once again, as this franchise looks ahead to 2026 and 2027, I don't see why in 2025 they would want to go get another bat. I just don't see it.
There's no need. And again, if you don't think there's logjam now, adding one just completely clogs things up, and that would be a bad move in my opinion. King Bash, do the Cards trade one of the catchers in a package with Fetty, and is Arenado back on the block, or will he now finish his career in STL? On that last one, I know you're big on the Arenado finishing it out in STL.
Yeah, I think if he's on the roster here on August 1st, I'm convinced that Arenado will finish out his contract with the Cardinals. Another team, unless the Cardinals are willing to eat a lot of that salary, I think another team would be reluctant to go out and get him with what the Cardinals goal in moving him was to get the salary off the book. So I don't think that they would do that. What was the first part of that again?
The first part about that was, do they include one of the catchers in a package with Fetty to maybe free up some things there? And I don't think so. I feel like they're so locked in on what Pages and Pozo are doing with this staff.
Right. But if they're looking ahead, though, and I don't know that they can make the evaluation this year, when you have Bernal, when you have Crooks, and you have Ramirez, you've got 3 guys that you really like in the minors that could wind up being big league catchers. You might wind up being like the Yankees, developing catchers for a quarter of the baseball. But I don't think the Cardinals know enough about their young catchers yet to make a deal like that this year.
That's very fair, and I think that's kind of the case. They're dealing with a lot of things. Is what do we know, and based on what do we know, how many decisions can we make definitively? And I think that's the big problem that they're dealing with right now, is that they don't feel comfortable making definitive decisions without the information they want to have, and they just don't have all the information from everyone they want, from all the different avenues that they have. And that's what a big part of this season is. But now they've had to add in another variable, which is you're above 500. In fact, you are now, again, I think this is the second or third time we've talked about it this month, you have now extended your most games above 500 of the season to 9 games above 500. At the beginning of June, they had hit the 7 game above, but this entire month, 2 steps backwards, 3 steps forward. And kind of an Antonio La Russa, just win 2 out of 3 ways. That will continue making you a winning baseball team. And that's kind of where the Cardinals have been in June. June, honestly, gave me more confidence about the Cardinals in September than the May explosion did. Because they fought and they clawed, and some of the power returned, some of the power evaporated, but they still won games because they proved that the slug baby slug and the runners in scoring position and the small ball offense can be all they need. June has given me a ton of confidence about this Cardinals team going forward, but June did not answer all their questions, and that's why we're still having these conversations.
And we will, because the Cardinals are going to have pitchers that are not going to be on the roster next year. And that's a big thing we need to find out now. By the way, thank goodness the Cardinals hired Ethan Goforth and have a minor league catching instructor now, because 3 of their top 6 prospects are catchers. Bernal is up to number 3, Crooks is number 5, and Reynel Rodriguez is number 6. And then their number 18 prospect, Ryan Campos, is also a catcher. So 4 of your top 18 prospects are catchers. It doesn't make any sense to not have a catching instructor. JJ Weatherholt, by the way, it was pointed out in the chat, is on his way to the Futures game, and that's cool. He's their number 1 prospect. Quinn Matthews, still regarded as the Cardinals' number 2 prospect. And Matthews, according to MLB Pipeline, is projected as a 2025 ETA. I'm not buying that. I would kind of be surprised if we would see Quinn Matthews here this year now.
What I'm surprised, that I'm not expecting that at all. Samuel House says none of them are top 10 catching prospects in the league. I'm surprised that there's that many catchers on the top 100 list, that Leo Bernal is apparently the 11th or 12th catcher on the list. Man, catchers apparently are doing great in Major League Baseball right now. That's nuts.
Yeah, and I think that they still have value. Because teams don't like in the first round of the draft. You don't see a lot of catchers. Somebody's trying to call me.
How dare they? How
You know what?
dare
It's
they?
a scam. It's a scam.
1, 2.
Yeah, we don't need any. I don't know why I didn't have my phone turned on. Sorry, $5 fine for me. But here I'm going to boom. See if those people will say hello. Hello, can you hear me?
He is literally the 9th rated catcher prospect in Major League Baseball because I was like there's 10 catchers above Leo Bernal at 99th on the top 100 catchers list. There are not. There are 8 catchers above him. He is literally a top 10 catching prospect in the league.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, he's got a chance to be good, and I think the Cardinals, with their young catching, I think if they want to utilize that as collateral to get trades made, I think they can do it.
Also, when you're looking at all these guys, like there's a couple catchers there's only like one catcher, I think, in the 8 above him who's younger than him. There's an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old with the Padres. And those are the only teenagers. Bernal sitting at just 21. So yeah, he's the 9th rated catcher prospect in Major League Baseball right now.
All right, we'll take that. That's good news for the Cardinals. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the Blues signing Joel Hofer. I was surprised that Hofer settled for a 3.4 AAV. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm glad he did, but the number for the first round draft choice last year for Broberg was $4,580,918. The reason that the Blues got him for a second pick was because they gave him $4,580,917, $1 below what it would have taken for Edmonton to get a first round pick. I thought Hofer would get closer to that AAV, but what do I know? And Ville Husso, when he went, remember the Blues traded his rights to Detroit for a third rounder, and Detroit gave Husso a $4.75 million AAV for 3 years. Now he was going to be an unrestricted free agent, so he had a little bit more leverage. But I like Hofer better than I ever liked Husso. Do you?
Yes. Okay. I was trying to think. I was like, man, what were my thoughts on Ville Husso? I feel like I want to say yes, but also my thoughts are 100% clouded by the fact that I know that Husso fell off a cliff in the last.
Yeah, in his time with Detroit, he had an .892 save percentage and a 3.26 goals against. They traded him to Anaheim for cash. I think he played 4 games for the Ducks, and the Ducks just re-signed him this weekend after they traded John Gibson, their goalie, to Detroit, ironically. But Husso's not going to be the starter in Anaheim. So he's never going to be what Detroit or a lot of people thought he was going to be. I wasn't hot on the Blues giving him the big money to stay. I would have been hot on the Blues giving Hofer the big money to stay. But to get him for 6.8 for 2 years, I think is really a good deal for the Blues.
It's a fantastic deal for the Blues. And another part of it was the relationship between Hofer and Binnington. The goalie room is locked in tight, and that kind of mentality, especially with goalies, can be very important.
Yeah, and the reason that I was kind of surprised is because the cap is going up, and people starting tomorrow are going to spend stupid money. Mitch Marner, by the way, is going to wind up with Vegas. If you weren't aware of that, Vegas apparently is going to trade for the rights to Marner and then sign him, although that hasn't happened yet. Why do you mention this, Randy?
Why do you mention this, Randy?
What does this have to do with me? Because your former captain here in St. Louis, Alex Pietrangelo, apparently is going to have to undergo multiple major surgeries this offseason and will not be available to the Golden Knights in the 25-26 season and will be placed on LTIR. That's why the Golden Knights will have enough money to trade for Mitch Marner, because that $8.8 million that Petro makes will not count against the salary cap.
Wow.
Sad. And I talked to an associate of Petro's and said he just feels really old.
Oh my God.
But 2 cups. I hope it's not it for Petro, but apparently the deal is that he's got to undergo a couple of surgeries.
Samuel Howe, the AAV for Hofer is $3.4 million.
2 years, 6.8.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, they'll take it. Also, the Blues got apparently a pretty good draft choice in getting Justin Carbonneau this weekend. I don't know. I've never seen the guy play, but most observers thought that he would go higher than 19th. He's a big kid, 6'2", 192, has the right attitude, says he likes to go into those greasy areas, eh? And so whether he plays another year of junior or goes to BU, doesn't really matter. But the Blues do a really good job of drafting in the teens and getting players that, for whatever reason, fall to them, and the Blues get really good value out of them. Obviously, when you look at Snuggerud, when you look at a guy like Bolduc, Kyrou was a second-round pick. The Blues have done really, Robert Thomas was in the teens. Blues have done a really good job of getting really good players relative to the draft position that they have.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking this guy up, and obviously there's only so much you can roll off for him. This could be Ben since I watched JC's highlights. He's going to be a stud. He just learns to play some D. That's definitely not a small sample size reaction there at all. And that's why I think it's fascinating. If you're really dived into this kind of stuff, go out to Centene and watch development camp. Starts today. Goes through July 3rd this week, so you can watch some of this. And with the way that people are talking about him, I better hear some reports from JR, who, by the way, congratulations to him resigning as well.
Yes.
With the Athletic, incredible work there. We'll try to get JR on this week and talk about Carbonneau because everyone's talking about him, and it's one of those things where if he's apparently this naturally gifted offensively, I want to see something jump out, off the ice when people are watching development camp this week. Because if he's apparently that gifted offensively, we should see a boost there. Also, fun little development camp point. Cam Jansen reminded me of this. I didn't get a chance to ask Tim Taylor, but Theo Lindstein's going to be out there. Another one of the defensemen is Marcus Broberg. The younger brother of Philip has been invited to the Blues development camp. I think that's just a smart move.
I think that's fantastic, and I hope he winds up becoming a part of the Blues organization. I think that'd be wonderful. I'm trying to find out if they have the numbers because I want them to give Carbonneau a good number.
Well, the big thing for me has to be that their last pick of the draft, also Prokhorov, Louve, I believe, or Love, as I believe is how it's pronounced. But the fact that his name's Love is fantastic. Also, like the Prokhorov guy that they drafted in the 5th, apparently from all the NHL scouting services things, he apparently is a really good pick for that spot. He was supposed to go a little bit higher, and the Blues got a good steal for him. But I just love that the goalie's name is Love or whatever they're supposed to call him, Louve or Love, whatever it is.
Okay. By the way, Justin Carbonneau in the prospects camp, given the exact same number that Albert Pujols wore in spring training for the Cardinals in 2001.
40 something?
68.
68. I was going to say 48. Yep, 68. Damn it.
That's what Albert wore in spring training. So, you are going to get the Albert Pujols of hockey, St. Louis. You're welcome.
Yeah, Jeremy Hodge, he had 46 goals. He's no doubt talented, but
okay,
it's the NHL draft, guys. Come on.
Okay.
Let's pull back a little bit. Let's be a little bit realistic here. It is the NHL draft. We literally just had the assistant GM of the club point out that these 2 or 3 year time frames that they're hitting right now on first round picks are anomalous and very good. Where the NHL is a 3 to 5 year window. So I love Carbonneau as well, but it's 2025, which means that at the earliest, we should be talking about Mr. Carbonneau in 2028. And at this point, this team better be competing for Stanley Cups by 2027. And so I'm not really going to focus too much in on the Carbonneau conversation.
Okay, so the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League.
I love that flipping name because you have the OHL, so simple. Just right out of the gate, the O, and then you have the QMJHL, which is just like so ridiculous and clunky.
Okay. Connor Garland is playing somewhere in the NHL, right? Where's Connor Garland playing?
Connor Garland is Wild.
Okay, Connor Garland.
Connor Garland just got a $36 million extension with the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, there he is, yeah. He led the Q with 129 points in 2015.
Pretty good.
67 games, 35 goals, 94 assists.
So that was 2015. He led the Q in points.
Yeah. My point here is that these guys score a lot in the Q. Danik Martel scored 48 goals and 54 assists for 102 points that year. Ehlers was in that league, 37 and 64 for 101. Nikita Jevpalovs.
I've never heard of him.
100-point guy. Angelo Maselli, 96-point guy, 38 and 58. Alexis Loiseau.
Never heard of him.
35 and 61 for 96 points. Ivan Barbashev, 95 points, 45 goals, 50 assists. 7th in the league that year. Anthony Bouvillier, 94-point guy. He's been around. So Timo Meyer that year, 18 years old, had 44 and 46 for 90 points. My point is that there's a lot of guys that score a lot of points in the queue that never make it in the National Hockey.
Never do anything. Bouvillier's highest scoring season is 40 points.
Yeah. So, well, I am fired up because I think the Blues evaluate really well. So I'm fired up about Carbonneau. I just don't know enough to say that he's going to be a stud.
Get excited because, I mean, they keep killing it. And you can go to the development camp right now. You can watch Carbonneau, but more importantly, you can watch Theo Lindstein and Adam Juracek, who were first-round picks in previous years and are clearly
Juracek's going to play, huh?
On there. I think he's in the development camp.
I'm just saying he's always hurt.
Yeah, that's fair. And these guys are on pace or even above the pace for the average NHL first round pick, and that's all I really need from this team. Just continue developing first round picks at a slightly above average pace, and you'll have a job for a very long time.
If you want to have a job for a very long time, take your boss to the Fenton Bar and Grill for lunch. That's what it's all about, because the Fenton Bar and Grill has the most delicious trashed wings that you'll ever have. In fact, if you're taking a young lass, why does this keep happening? These people here, you want to hear these people here?
Oh no!
Yep, we're going to do it.
No, we're going to do it. I'm going to take Fenton Bar and Grill off the screen.
Hello. Hold on. I'm sorry. What's your name?
My name is Daniel.
Hey, Daniel. How you doing? Where are you from, Daniel?
So I am from Virginia.
Virginia. Great to have you with us. You're on the air live, by the way. What can we do for you today?
You can't do that.
Well, we just did.
This call is about Medicare benefits and savings.
Okay.
Do you have Medicare Part A and B?
I do not.
Oh my God. Oh darn. God bless America.
Daniel from Virginia. Thanks for checking in on the Randy Karraker Show. Anyway, what's wrong? I get those all the time. I knew what it was.
I know you did. I just needed to make sure. We took the sponsors off the board. Probably shouldn't even put up the one I did.
Oh yeah. Well, it's Fenton Bar and Grill.
There we go.
It's all about fun at the Fenton Bar and Grill. So here's a couple of things. Number one, it's Monday, and you know what that means? You get to sample the Fenton Bar and Grill trashed wings. Ooh, are they delicious? They're absolutely delicious. And today you can get 10 for $10 every Friday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Fenton Bar and Grill. Stop by and try out their trashed wings. Best wings that you will ever have. And it's not just the great trashed wings. That's a big part of the reason that you go. And tell them Randy said, say Randy Karraker told me about the Monday trashed wing special from 5 to 9. Can I try that out? They'll let you. But I go back to taking your boss to Fenton Bar and Grill for lunch. That's because they have absolutely delicious burgers and salads and wraps. And I am just a big fan of this chicken Caesar wrap. It's $10.95. It is wonderful. You'll love it. And whenever you go, make sure that you split some of these wings that you're seeing right there in the middle of your screen with your boss. And your boss will say, you know what? I'm going to take care of you forever. You're always going to be an employee of mine. Believe me, I did that with one of I'm not employed there anymore, but still, your boss will love the fact that you went to the Fenton Bar and Grill and had some of these trashed wings. Also, try out that toasted wrap, some of the best in town. The servers at the Fenton Bar and Grill are so friendly. Say hi to Megan and say hi to Jamie and Candy and the crew tomorrow on Tuesday. You'll have a great time talking to Casey. She'll be there. So stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill. It's only 2 minutes away from the soccer park on Rudder Road in Fenton. Easy to get to. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com. And by all means, when you go to the Fenton Bar and Grill, tell them Randy sent you. Do you ever get those calls?
I do get those calls. I do not handle them the same way you do because I am very worried and paranoid about giving them any
information,
just words that they can then turn into an AI thing to make my voice churn stuff out. But at the same time, I probably shouldn't be because I'm on air and they can just go and pull anything that I've done publicly and generate my voice from that. So that's probably a good point.
Yeah, I've said that to
the chatters they really appreciate it. Andy says this is amazing. Samuel Howe, Randy needs that Medicare. Or Bubs, Randy, you're the best. Oh my God. Fenton Bar and Grill does support bullying phone scammers. Andy says Daniel from Virginia needs to get some of those delicious Trax wings from F Bags. No doubt about that. High Definition wants to know if he can talk to you about your car's your extended auto warranty.
So here's the thing I do and I messed up there by saying I don't have Medicare. Okay, because if you do, here's another way to get hung up on. If you tell them that you have Medicare, and then they say, "Oh, how old are you?" and you say you're 101, they hang up on you then too. I just have fun talking to them, and sometimes you can get into a little bit of a conversation.
Have you done that before?
So, yeah, because here's the thing: if you've never seen the movie Horrible Bosses,
great movie.
It's a great movie, and one of the things they do is they have somebody with an accent, and they ask him if it's his real name, and he says he's honest with them. He says, "No, it's not my real name." And then they go back to his given name. Oh, they go back to his American name because he Americanized it. But sometimes you get into those conversations and you find out that somebody is dealing with a fake name, and they'll tell you what their real name is. But you just kind of have to play along a little bit with them. It's kind of fun.
Fair enough.
Next time, this is true, Samuel. How the longer you tie them up on the phone, the less time they have to bother others. One time I got one on the phone. It was a salesperson. And they asked for Mr. Karraker, which obviously is not not somebody I know, and say and I started playing along. I said, "Did you know Mr. Karraker?" No. Are you sure? Why are you calling Mr. Karraker? And then you say, "Don't move that body yet," and so make them think that it's a murder scene and Mr. Karraker got murdered. That's a really fun way to string them along and shake them up a little bit. I love doing it.
You know what? I should jump on that because they do butcher my last name as well. So
I'll bet
I probably should have more fun with them. But I feel the problem is I'm empathetic to a fault, because my thing is just like they got a job and that sucks, but like they're just trying to get through their day.
They are. And
I'm not trying to make it harder for them.
I still feel bad for Chip from Charter, okay, so we've all had this before, right? With our cable or our internet or something, and mine was down, and I was frustrated because I needed it. There was a game on or something like that, and so I called, spent a lot of time. I got the did you plug it in? You know, all that stuff. Did all that stuff. Somebody with, you know, an accent that wasn't my accent, and so I still feel bad about this. So I want to preface this by saying I feel bad about it with Chip. And so I called Charter again, and I said, Chip answers the phone. He says, "This is Chip. How can I help you?" And I said to him, "Let me speak to an American." And I still feel really bad about that.
Good Lord.
Chip hung up on me. And then finally I did find an American that helped me out. But, you know, sometimes you have trouble. I do. I don't hear that well, understanding people. So anyway, it was a bad day for Randy. Okay. It was a bad day, and I admit it. All right. You need to tell us about how big the win in the CONCACAF Gold Cup was last night. U.S. men's national team beating Costa Rica in penalty kicks. And they play here Wednesday night against Guatemala in the semifinals. So how big is this? Is this a big deal?
I mean, the Guatemala beating Canada is a big deal. Costa Rica having beaten the United States would have been a big deal. You can't be tying 2-2 with Costa Rica. You can't be getting bailed out by penalty kicks. And I know you had some bad tackles in the box that led to some easy chances for them as well. But that was a little bit disconcerting that they had to beat Costa Rica on a 2-2 run. But hey, Canada just got kind of embarrassed in a loss to Guatemala that keeps them out of the semifinals. So at this point, I guess we can just say, be happy you won and beat the tiny Central American country, and you're still playing. And that's kind of where you are. So now you got to show up and beat Guatemala, which you should be able to do. But again, I would have said that about a matchup against Costa Rica as well.
I remember one time the United States lost to both Trinidad and Tobago. That was a rough day.
Well, you can't be playing two matches at once.
No, you can't. And they were playing against a double team.
Unbelievable. How many times have you used that joke since that happened?
A lot. A lot. Yeah. So still a chance they could win the Gold Cup, but I would not put my money on it is all I'll say. Oh man.
Let's put it that way.
People are still enjoying your
hatred of them of these telemarketers is funny. Mexico and Honduras is the late game tonight. I have a feeling Mexico will win that one, and not tonight. Sorry, Wednesday.
Can we play then? Could we?
And then it's
play Mexico for the whole ball of wax.
Whole ball of wax on July 6th.
Okay, good. And I will let you address what the hell is going on with St. Louis City SC getting their only shot on goal in the 96th minute.
It's hard to be good when you don't have your best players play.
It is. Okay.
And that's one of the big factors right now with St. Louis City SC is there's a lot of individual things to criticize, but the bottom line is that without Kessler, your defense is unstable, and without Leuven, your midfield has no juice. And I know a lot of people want to complain about the people who are scoring the ball, but for me, if you can't play defense and you can't consistently build up offense, there's no point in really even talking about the attackers and who's shooting the ball, because it wasn't the lack of João Klaus having a game that kept him from getting more shots on goal. It was the inability of you guys to move the ball forward with any consistency. I mean, Klaus had 7 shots on goal on Wednesday and does nothing because the midfield and the back line do absolutely nothing when it came to moving the ball up. Their first shot not on goal, their first shot in the game at any point was a 46 minutes into the game. Absolutely pathetic. I can't believe the offense has fallen off this hard.
Samuel Howe, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take in the first 95 minutes. This is true. I was wondering,
one of those,
because I am a soccer neophyte. Okay.
Good word.
But could City, would it help them to hire the Mike Martz of soccer?
Just like an offensive coordinator genius, is what you're saying?
Genius, yeah, that could open things up, do things that nobody else has ever seen, and just be, even if you aren't going to win, be exciting.
Okay, so they are trying to play a more exciting team, and I think everyone will admit that while they're not winning games, they have played a more exciting version of the sport for the majority of the games under David Critchley, Saturday night being the exception. All the games before that, even the ones they were losing under Critch, playing a more exciting and more fun version. So they are doing that. They are playing a more exciting, more fun version of the sport. So that's all. That's the answer I have for you. Is they are doing that to a point, but the problem is if you don't have the base figured out, which is your defense and your midfield, you can't build the fun on top of it. Else it's a house of cards.
If you're going to bring in the Mike Martz of soccer, you need to bring in the Marshall Falk of soccer too, right?
That would help. Yes, that's a really good point. Yeah, you can't just bring in Martz and expecting everything to work. You got to bring in Torrey Holt. You got to bring in Marshall Falk. You got to have Orlando Pace, and you got to stumble into a Kurt Warner. And right now, they don't have Orlando Pace. Their Kurt Warner is unfortunately to a very sad case. Their Kurt Warner is consistently dealing with his wife having to fight terminal brain cancer.
I know. Yeah.
And so they just don't have these players available. And if you don't have your 2 best players available, you're not going to win a lot of games in a lot of sports. That's just the bottom line.
And by the way, is Wednesday night sold out to your knowledge? It should be. I would hope,
but I'm not sure.
But CONCACAF Gold Cup. It'll be the best soccer we'll see at Energizer Park this year, probably.
That's a fair case. Yes, that's a fair case.
Cardinals and Pirates tonight, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Hopefully, the Cardinals can extend the winning streak, and I just really think that this is a team on an upward trajectory. Now, that being said, the Pirates are basically playing 500 balls since Don Kelly took over as their manager, and they're way better than they were. They were 12-26 when they made the managerial change. So they've been playing significantly better. But here's another, talk about playing significantly better. Another point. The Cardinals were 2-12 on the road. Now they're 21-21 on the road.
Unbelievable what they've done. The bullpen is always going to help you in those kind of games. Absolutely huge. But yeah, Samuel Howe saying they swept the Mets. That's a good point. You mama, hire Andy Reid. Just put a bunch of guys out there that can run. And see, here's the common misconception. That's not what Andy Reid does. Andy Reid doesn't just put a bunch of guys out there who can run. He drafts every year. He drafts offensive linemen, especially in Philadelphia. And then he says, I'm going to put a bunch of guys around you who can run. That
Mhm.
there's nothing comparable to that in soccer or baseball. The point is, though, in all sports, there is building your base, and then there's building the flashy stuff on top of it.
Mhm.
And the point that I'm making with City, the point that you can make with the Cardinals about building up this pitching staff is you got to build the base before you put the flashy stuff on top. Because like I said, or else it's a house of cards. And the thing for the Pirates is they usually find a way to get one or two big pieces,
Yeah.
but there's no base. There's no consistency. When they have consistency, like there was that run where they had so they had Polanco, Marte, an aging McCutchen, and some good young players.
Mhm.
And then and credit to them, they took the swing with the Chris Archer deal, and it completely implodes
Totally
and bites him in the
diverts,
ass. But you saw what the only time we've really seen a competitive Pirates team, what they had to do. It wasn't just getting a Paul Skeens. It was getting 4 or 5 guys solidly throughout these drafts and building something 1 through 9. But then, it falls apart when you don't have the money.
And you have to keep a guy like Garrett Cole around for a few years. You can't just trade him off and get something that might be good or might not.
Oh,
And
I missed a spam call.
You got to.
Oh, we could have done another one.
Okay, so here's what
Damn it.
we'll do a poll tomorrow. Oh, this is so funny.
Should we just start answering all spam calls that happen during the show?
Here.
Are you getting another one?
No, but this is even better. It's a voicemail.
All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Are you there?
So then they hang up. So let me go back to the beat.
You get legitimate joy out of this, don't you?
Yeah.
Are you there?
No. So we'll do a poll tomorrow, and we'll let you guys decide whether or not we should answer a spam call during the show. If we get one during the show, I'll keep the phone turned up. If you guys like this, if you're entertained by it, then we'll do it. Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
What do you think? Yeah.
I love the plan. I'm so built. I didn't even think about it. We literally just did a spam call joke, and
You got one.
my call goes off, and I didn't even think about it. I immediately just silenced my phone, locked it out, and put it away. This could be Ben says, yes, we want the spam calls.
Okay, good start.
Damn it. I'm not gonna win this battle.
Okay.
We're gonna have to end up doing this one. Fine.
Okay. But we'll actually do a poll at the beginning of the show tomorrow. So if I get one, if you want spam, we'll give you spam. If you want ham, we'll give you ham.
If you want spam, we'll give you spam. If you want ham, we'll give you ham.
You can call Hockey Dad Dom. I love you, man. You can call the segment Randy's Scammer Payback. Good. Okay. We'll think about it. Good. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Heaney, Skeens, Keller. So a tough pitching matchup. Can the Cardinals get the offense going against some very good pitching and win another away series?
It'd be nice to have your right-handed hitters tonight.
Yes.
And there is a Keller trade rumor going on right now.
That could shift things.
Who was it? Were the Cubs talking about that? Yeah, Cubs were talking about getting Keller from Pittsburgh. So maybe we'll see him on Wednesday night. Maybe not. So
I feel like also just because the law of averages, if you want to drive over to Illinois prior to tomorrow's game and put the mortgage down on the Cardinals losing that game, because there's no way they stay undefeated against Skeens. There's just no way it keeps happening.
Oh yeah, there is.
It has to break against
At
them.
some point.
It can't keep going. It's too weird. The numbers don't say it's true. They're also terrible in that situation right now. I'm betting the house that they win this series, but they lose game 2.
All right. We'll see how he does with that.
See if I
Don't
have a house.
bet your mortgage,
Yeah,
please.
don't
bet
do
your
that.
mortgage.
Don't do that.
on
Don't do
what
that.
we said.
It's a turn of phrase.
Great job, Matthew. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
And Wilson always doing a great job of keeping us on the air over there. And we thank you for being a part of the Randy Karraker Show here on STL Sports Central. Don't forget pre- and post-game Cardinal activity tonight on Cards Central 365. And we will see you tomorrow morning at 10:02. Have a great Monday, everybody.